How much of a body count are we talking here when we're talking, like, can you tell us, like, the top 3 you've heard from some girls?
The highest I've ever heard from a girl, it was like 340 something.
What? 340 something?
That's
The highest I've ever heard is like 100, and I thought that was
Where
the craziest
are you hearing
number.
that from? I've heard way higher too.
Then what?
Then like 340. I've heard like, I'm just saying 100's the highest you've heard.
Yeah. And I thought that was crazy.
It was around 340. I think it was like 346 if I remember exactly.
What about some other high numbers? Any,
Unless
like,
it's
100
small.
plus?
Yeah, there's a few of those for
A couple,
sure. Yeah.
a few 100 plus.
The app does not care how many relationships, how many marriages they create. The app cares how much money they bring in short-term and long-term. Auto swiping right. It doesn't work with most algorithms. Reason being that if you are automatically swiping right, there are 2 things happening. Number 1, the app is rating you based on how selective or unselective you are, and it's correlating unselective to unattractive in many cases. So you're going to be seen by the app as less attractive. Also, if you are willing to swipe right on mediocre girls, the app has no incentive to show you attractive girls. So the auto swipe right strategy, which did actually kind of work in the very early days of online dating, absolutely does not work in most apps now. And that's something you need to understand because the algorithm will be against you if you employ such a strategy.
Let's get real about the whole sexual history debate and its impact on relationships. Sure, some folks argue that a person's past shouldn't define their worth. But let's not kid ourselves. Shared values and compatibility do matter. The idea that men prefer women with a low or 0 body count isn't just some random opinion. It's a preference that many hold, even if it's not polite to admit it. Here's the deal. Trust and communication are the backbone of any solid relationship. If someone feels the need to lie or hide their past, that's a red flag right there. If you can't be upfront about where you've been, what else are you hiding? Relationships should be built on transparency, not half-truths or convenient omissions. But let's flip the script for a second. The issue of false accusations against men is no joke. We've all seen the horror stories, guys getting their lives turned upside down because of baseless claims. Their reputation? Ruined. Their future? Wrecked. And let's not pretend this isn't happening on college campuses across the country. The so-called justice system is often a joke, bending over backward to appease one side while trampling over the rights of the accused. Sure, we need to take real cases of assault and harassment seriously. But this mad rush to believe every single claim without scrutiny? That's how innocent lives get destroyed. It's about time we demand due process and fairness for everyone involved. The idea that feminism is all about equality sounds nice in theory, but in practice, it often means throwing men under the bus to prove a point.
Put your head on my shoulder, hold me in your arms, baby. Both hands on the back when I tap it, grab it and slap it, Becky a savage. Let me show you a magic trick you can have.
As a professional matchmaker, I see so many great women get declined by men for really silly reasons. So men, what are the main reasons why you would decline meeting a woman? Post your reasons in the comments attached, and I want to see if my theories are correct behind this.
Aren't you gonna open the door for me?
Yeah, I was literally just about to.
As you should.
Shut that door. Shut that door.
I think I left something on the seat. 1 second. I just gotta move it for you. I don't want you to sit on it.
Okay.
Please drive off. Please drive off. Please drive off.
What age did you wake up and realize that you no longer wanted to be a strong?
She pretty much talks about like coming to the realization that she no longer wants to be a strong, independent Black woman. I would have to say that it's just now hitting me. I just turned 33, and I will say, I think it's this year that it's really hit me that I do not want the title of a strong, independent Black woman. Okay.
Men are now at a point to where they're walking away and they don't mind being alone. Y'all have messed it up. Women, a lot of us have messed it up. And like I said, even surprisingly to me, like I was noticing and seeing so many men like, I desire family, I desire commitment, I desire marriage, I desire to have a woman, I want to provide for a woman, take care of a family. Like, men have been wanting that. But now you're starting to see more and more men become more and more comfortable with the idea of not having any of that, because men are valuing and desiring their peace over everything else.
Okay, when I was a kid, I was convinced that I was going to be like married by the time I was 22, get a house by the time I was 25, have my first kid at 28, graduate college, ring by spring, find a husband. No, here I am, 24. I am single. I travel the country for my job, and I love my job. But do I want a husband? Do I want children? Yes. But that old expectation that 16-year-old me had has now faced the reality of the world. And I would like to be married by the time I'm 28. So I've got 4 years to find a suitor. I would like my first kid by the time I'm 30. I would like to buy a house also when I get married. I plan to buy a house in like the next 4 to 5 years if saving and everything goes according to plan with the current living situation. But did anyone else, I feel like us girls just lived in delusion when we were in like high school and middle school and convinced ourselves like 21 felt so old. And now I'm like, that was years ago.
Feminism isn't a one-size-fits-all movement. Some feminists are genuinely concerned with stopping gender-based violence, while others are more about pushing their own agenda, no matter the cost. We need to have real, nuanced conversations, ones that don't paint all men as predators or all women as saints. It's about time we struck a balance that protects everyone's rights, not just the loudest voices in the room. False claims are a big deal, and they need to be taken seriously. But so does the experience of genuine survivors. It's all about creating a fair system where justice isn't just a buzzword, but a reality. We owe it to everyone to get this right. For men serious about long-term relationships, diving into different cultural contexts can be eye-opening. There's a lot to learn from the values and norms in places like the Middle East, Eastern Europe, and Southeast Asia. These regions often have more traditional takes on family life that might offer the kind of relationship dynamics some men feel are missing in the West. But let's not sugarcoat it. Thinking a woman's worth is solely tied to her body count is as shallow as it gets. People are complex, and reducing someone's value to just a number misses the point entirely. Sure, some studies suggest a link between promiscuity and challenges in forming long-term bonds, but that's not the whole story. Relationships are about so much more. Communication, trust, and mutual respect are what really make them work. Now, the advice to get financially stable and explore different places? Spot on. Broadening your horizons is key. But let's be real. If you're just hopping cultures to find a better woman based on some outdated checklist, you're not really understanding what makes relationships tick. Approach these new experiences with an open mind, not just a shopping list.
We can all agree that modern dating just sucks, right? Gen Z is so hooked on dating apps, yet refuses to actually go on a date, and it's all just a game to everyone. We all know it. Oh, and not to mention the dating expectations and hookup culture. So statistically speaking, Gen Z is the most incapable generation of even forming bonds with a partner because of previous hookups. Oh, and men are too scared to ask women out the right way because they don't want to seem too into the girl, but then girls are so into their boss babe, corporate girly eras to even go on a date. It's exhausting, honestly. And the reason why so many people in our generation are single and depressed is because you're trying to find a purpose in the worldly things around you, which I promise will leave you nothing but disappointed. Gen Z, I'm telling you guys, it's time to wake up and stop listening to the lies of the world around you.
The truth is, healthy relationships are built on more than just someone's past. People evolve, and who they were doesn't always define who they are now. Sure, being aware of someone's history is part of getting to know them, but it's not the end-all be-all. If you're hung up on notch counts, you're missing the bigger picture. In conclusion, this perspective challenges the feminist narrative by highlighting the inconsistencies and double standards inherent in the movement. Feminism may claim to advocate for equality, but when it comes to relationships, sexual history, and legal fairness, it's clear that the agenda often privileges women at the expense of men. This message calls out the hypocrisy of expecting men to conform to feminist ideals while ignoring the very real concerns they have about trust, fairness, and the impact of a partner's past on a relationship's future. And that's it for today on Sigma Traits. Make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring that notification bell. Support this channel through membership. You can also support through PayPal link in the description. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. See you all tomorrow.